how I do so much damage with my Elemental Shaman. Guys, I know it's the end of the season, and that's why I'm gonna cover everything that I do, because everything changed from the last guide. I did a major change in my stats, which is I actually got a lot more Versa, but before that, I want to share something with you guys. I am partnered with Goldcap, so make sure to go and check them out. I have them in my description. You can click the link, and that way you support the channel by purchasing or subscribing to their guides. So I would be very happy, guys, if you support me. Also, I'm so happy to see you back. It's your boy ZinZou, and let's go. Today, I am gonna split the video in 3 parts. I'm gonna tell you what are the talents. After that, I'm gonna show you my gear and stats. And at the last, I'm gonna show you the rotation and how to track your mouse storm and how to spend it the best. So make sure to watch the entire video. Also, I'm gonna split it into the timeline so you can find what you need faster. And yeah, so let's start first with the talents. As I said, the talents are not changed at all actually. I'm still going Stormbringer, you know, as usual. Talents are focused on getting my haste from Primal Wave, Splintered Elements, and getting as many procs as possible. Everything is really how it used to be in the last guide and basically on every guide you've seen for Elemental Shaman. So I don't want to spend much time in my talents. I want to spend more time explaining what I changed in my gear. So let's talk about the gear now. The gear that I'm using is actually focused now on getting more Versa. The reason is that I was actually not surviving in higher than 13s and I got almost resilient on 14s. Yeah, I know you're gonna say you're only 3.1k rating. Yes, but I did that rating in the 3rd week of the season and then I stopped playing, as you know. And now I'm back and I will try to rush as much rating as I can. So what about the Versa? Versa, I was running around 4% and I was getting one-shotted by everything. So I decided to get more Versa. That's why I changed my items on Versa focus stats, and I got my Flask of Tempered Versatility, which gives me another 3%. And if we have a druid in the group, I'm around 19% Versa, which is still not the best, but that's because I'm still low on gear. So I would suggest you to get at least 18% flat Versa. So when you get the buff from the druid, you get around 20%. At the same time, I'm very good on haste, I'm very good on mastery, and I'm actually really great on critical strike. Also, I'm running Astro Antenna, which is an insane trinket and it boosts my DPS by so much. So I would suggest you to get that trinket. You can buy it now with coins, as you know, with the quest. And the other trinket that I'm running is the Aras Ritual Forge, which is the biggest DPS buffer, especially if you want to burst like I do. Getting up to 50-60 million DPS in larger pools is not something unusual right now on this state of the game, but Elemental Shaman right now is not as bursty as it was, but at this point of the patch, it's actually really much more consistent DPS than what it was in the previous seasons. So I would suggest you to get these two trinkets. Everything else is, as I said, focused on Versa. I got my back with Versa socket. I got enchants on my finger. I didn't enchant that one. I need to. Yeah, I changed my sockets, enchant with Versa and everything, and I still maintain very good mastery. So saying it again, get a bit more Versa. And that's about the stat, guys. Before we go to the rotation, I want to quickly cover the macros and how I'm actually bursting so much, as you've seen in my videos. Actually, I have only one useful macro that I can share with you, and it's actually only the Ascendance macro, which I use with my proc, which is my Trinket Aras Ritual Forge. It gives me 36,000 intellect, which is not as insane if you have played Season 1 with the Spy Master, which was giving the same intellect, but on a lot lower gear. So yeah, it's just a burst that you want to use on larger packs and on boss fights, of course. Then I have my Tempered Potion, which I'm using for additional 2,400 secondary stats. That's actually the only macro that I'm using right now. Quick note for the people who are always asking me in the comments how I cast my Earthquake on targets. Guys, I know that's probably 99% of the players know that, but you have a talent where you can choose Earthquake to be casted on a target, or you can choose Earthquake to be casted on a location from your cursor. So I would suggest you to play the target one, but if you're used to the Earthquake, you can use the cursor macro, which I'll show you on the screen right now, and you can copy it in the description. But although I would suggest you to use the Earthquake on target, which is I think the best solution for me. So another thing I want to cover before the rotation is the weak auras that I'm using. I think if you get used to these weak auras, which are actually gonna go away in midnight, and I'm so mad at Blizzard for deciding that. I hope they make something as good as the weak auras that we use now. I would suggest you guys to go in my Discord and copy the add-ons that I'm using. I have every add-on updated there. The most important one is the Awakening Storm Tracker, which is actually tracking how many Awakening Storms you are actually using through the pool. So you can kind of make a calculation to keep, let's say you have one stack left to proc Ascendance. As you know, Ascendance now procs from 9 Awakening Storms because of the set bonus. So it's a mandatory to get that weak aura so you can track and be much more consistent with your DPS, and do not waste Ascendance when you, let's say, are just killing the pack right now and you have to, don't have any cooldowns for the upcoming one. So I would suggest you to get that weak aura. Other weak auras that I'm using is the that Wuxtrus weak aura, which is, let me show you. I have it in my description as well. That's that weak aura that I'm using. The Wuxtrus, you can customize absolutely everything. I have a cast bar. I have the tracker of my most important spells. And why I say that's actually a very good idea to have. The reason is the Tempest. Tempest actually, you can see you have 300. That's the mouse storm you have to spend to get your Tempest. Also, when you proc Ascendance, you can see there's a number 1 or 2 to see just how many Tempests you have available right now. And it's really, really helpful. Also, it helps you track when you use, let's say, Elemental Blast. Your Earthquake is glowing and you can see you have the buff instead of looking it up here. It's really, really so much better. Also, you can have a quicker access to your, major cooldowns like Stormkeeper, Storm Elemental, and Nature Swiftness. And Nature Swiftness is a really big part of our rotation, which I'm gonna show you right now. The rotation is actually, as I said, pretty situational, guys. Everything about Elemental Shaman, as you know, is pretty much related to getting procs, to getting refunds. What I mean by refunds, you get the Aftershock refund. You have 25% to refund your Mouse Storm, which means if you cast Elemental Blast, you have 25% to refund the Mouse Storm and be able to cast Instant Earthquake. At the same time, when you refund, you have bigger chance to, faster get Ascendance because of the DRE has 0.12% chance to activate Ascendance for 6 seconds, which means more spells you cast with the Mouse Storm, more chance you get to proc Ascendance, which is, usual. We all know that. Just mentioning for the people who are just starting Elemental Shaman. Also, guys, about the Storm Elemental, when we were on the previous season, the season 2 was having a buff, a jackpot buff, which didn't require us to use Storm Elemental right before casting Ascendance, but now you can actually go and combine Storm Elemental with Ascendance, so I would suggest you to use it always on the bursty pulse. You get additional haste and it deals a pretty decent chunk of damage. And how do you use Primal Wave? I use it right after I use Ascendance, so you get the additional haste from Primal Wave as well. I don't want to talk much more, I don't want to waste your time, guys. I will just show you the rotation now, and I'm gonna try to explain, as clear as possible what I'm doing and why I'm doing the things. So how I do the openers, I'm gonna show you a burst rotation with Bloodlust, but first I wanna explain it everything step by step. Okay, the way I do my rotation. I usually go with Stormkeeper, I go with Blood Fury, I go Storm Elemental. If we go Bloodlust, I go Ascendance. Then I have 2 stacks on Chain Lightnings from the Stormkeeper, but before that I use Primal Wave to get the haste. And you can go Chain Lightning until you have 90 Mouse Storm. And to maximize the burst and the quickness of your spells, going Nature Swiftness into Elemental Blast is in my opinion, the best option. That's how I always 100% of the times do. And that's where everything gets different for absolutely every pool we do. Why I'm saying that? Because you, as I said, you have a chance to refund your Mouse Storm, or you have a chance to not refund it. If you refund it, go Instant Earthquake. You also have a chance to re-proc your Ascendance, and everything really fluctuates to that if you're gonna get the procs back. So, baseline. Stormkeeper, Blood Fury, Storm Elemental, Bloodlust, Ascendance. Then you go to Chain Lightnings to get 90 Mouse Storm. Then you go Nature Swiftness, Elemental Blast, and then you go Earthquake. And that way you can really determine what's gonna happen next. You can either go cast Chain Lightnings back to get your Mouse Storm, 90 again, or you can go and cast your Tempest to deal massive damage. Something I wanna share with you guys, we are using lightning rod with charge conduit, which means we need to spread the lightning rod. And I would say that spreading the lightning rod, let me show you. Look at my DPS done on that pool with spreading the lightning rod, which is actually insane amount of damage. And I would say that without spreading it, I am doing around 400-500 million less. So I would 100% advise you to always try to spread it. How I do it, usually I just tap the targets, or you can use your cursor, but make sure to always cast your elemental blast on your prio target. That's what I would suggest you guys. Spread it, deal massive damage. Also your Tempest is doing much more damage now than the previous season. And yeah, it's really simple, guys. You need just to get your muscle memory. So without further talking, let me show you how I do the burst. And we got another sentence. You can see I have lightning rods on absolutely every target, which helps me spread my lightnings with much more damage. You can see I have Awakening Storm, 1 proc left, which means I'm gonna get a proc once my Awakening Storm goes off. Okay, it just happened just to show you how much easier it is to have these weak auras. It helps you keep your burst much more efficient. So yeah, guys, that's about the rotation. I really don't want to make a 2 hours long video explaining, you know, more in depth. But if you have any questions, I would be happy to ask me in the Discord. I answer absolutely every question. Thank you so much for watching the video and being here. Guys, I cannot explain how happy I am back, how happy I'm doing content again. I really missed you guys. You know, 2 months I was not doing any content. I really have some personal things that I had to sort out, you know. But now I will be streaming and I'm moving to Kick. So guys, make sure to follow me in Kick. We're trying to hit affiliate there. That's everything for this video. Subscribe to the channel. Links for everything is in my description, and also my Amazon affiliate, which supports the channel additionally. Thank you so much once again, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye bye. Got it. Whew. I so much hate when I'm behind somebody on a DPS battle,
AOE
guys.
Incoming.
Cannot believe how proud I am. We don't have percent. Yeah, we got it, boys. We fucking got it, bro. I'm so proud. I'm so proud out of this shaman, bro.